When the Messiah came and his preaching shone out, the land of Zebulun and Naphtali were the first freed from all the errors of the scribes and the Pharisees. So do you see how this common teaching of the Messiah and Paul is not against the laws of God? It's not even to correct the laws of God, but it's to correct the wrong that the scribes and the Pharisees have done. It's to correct the wrong, the misinterpretations that the scribes and the Pharisees have. And he shook off their shoulders a very heavy yoke of Jewish traditions. This Jewish tradition is later codified in the form of the Mishnah, the oratorial in general. All right, sometimes the Talmud too, you can put it that way. All right. Later, however, the preaching became more dominant. That means the preaching was multiplied through the good news of the Apostle Paul, who was the last of all the apostles, and the good news of the Messiah shown to the most distant tribes, the way of the whole sea, finally the whole world, which earlier walked or sat in darkness, was imprisoned in the bonds of idolatry and death, has seen the clear light of the good news. So they say here that one, the problem was these scribes and these Pharisees were teaching, Shabbat Shalom, Isaiah. These scribes and these Pharisees were teaching false things, heavy yoke of Jewish traditions, not the laws of God, but traditions. And the problem that they had with these scribes and Pharisees was not the teaching of the laws of God, but the teachings of tradition. This tradition began to falter with the teaching, Shabbat Shalom, Miguel, began to falter with the teaching of the Apostle Paul when it reached all of the Gentiles. It began with Zebulun and Naphtali. They were the first freed from those errors, and then it pressed out to the rest. But you see here between the first two that we just read, these very early, extremely early writings of Jerome on the Nazarenes, we see these Nazarenes had a very bad outlook on this second law, this Deuterocanon, this Mishnah, this repetition of the law.